We are running an organizational development project or program in a multinational company, and in this company the executive, the leader of the board of directors has changed, so we have a new board director, and now in 2 days we will run a steering committee of this organizational development program. And in this steering committee, we want to give a feedback, an actual situation of the organization and of the organizational situation, culture, performance to the new executive. And in order to do this, we need some material, some information. The last time we have run 3 months ago an organizational diagnosis, and this time I decided to run brief workshops with all the departments, like production, like maintenance, like research and development, like marketing, like finance, and like supply chain management, like HR, and with these departments we will conduct and run 1 hour workshops. So we invited the members by saying that we want to do this organizational diagnosis. I called it organizational dialogue, and we have 6 questions. First question is, what is the status of the organization? What changes do you see? What changes have you experienced since the new executive has arrived? It's now 5 months ago he joined the company. And what do you see as positive in these changes, and what are the negative aspects of the change? The next question is, where do we and where do you as executives, as managers, expect resistance towards these changes and further changes? And what is the general attitude towards change is one important question for the executive, because I asked him beforehand what kind of questions would he be interested in beside our questions of organizational diagnosis. So we will ask the colleagues and give him feedback as well. And then we will ask where do they expect resistance towards these changes, as I said, and what measures do they need. And yes, these we will collect, and we have conducted these workshops already today. Some came just with 3 managers of 1 department, others came with 12 managers as well as with employees, because I asked them, when I invited them through the site manager to these workshops, that they should bring as much colleagues from the departments as possible, because we have just limited time. So therefore we need some time. We have just a brief time period, so just 1 hour. Therefore we need more members of the department in order to create in the short time a lot of material and information, and we have to gather material. So with some of the departments, when they came just with 3 or 4 people, employees or managers, we talked, we conducted our organizational dialogue. And with the one, for example, who came with the 12 organizational members, we conducted a dialogue as well as a brief survey. We just allocated the papers, and we said, please write down your answers to these 6 questions. And they did, 1 page, 2 page, 2.5 page, even in half an hour, in 10-15 minutes, and then we have still time to discuss these issues. So we didn't have to kick off. We will have a close down after the steering committee by inviting those members again and giving them feedback about the overall outcome of all the talks. That's what we do all these organizational development weeks. But this time, as I said, steering committee meeting, and as a preparation, 1.5 days for conducting these 7 to 8 small workshops, 1 hour each, with a dialogue part, with a survey part, with a discussion part, with the documentation part. Of course, I have to explain them what I will do with the material. They know it already, but today they asked several times if I will give answer to names to the executive, and I said I never give names of our resources. We just anonymize and we give a summary of what we heard, of what we discussed, of what we observed. This will be an important part. I will write this down on some slides, the summary. I could even give it in a verbal sense, like a project briefing or report. And then we will see what kind of discussion we will have in the steering committee, because we also think about how to continue the process. So it's question mark if you stop it, if the new executive takes his own consultants in, what he did already, and we are in a way working parallel, and we have as ÖSPER also to decide if we want to continue, if we see our input. One of the employees today said some very interesting aspects. He said he's very thankful that he's working with us, because he thinks that we are the consultants who really do a difference, bring a difference into this process. And what we do and what we have as intervention has an impact on the overall organization, because they had already some reorganizations, some optimizations on the technical as well as on the social side of the enterprise as well. So it's not fishing for compliments, but by losing our energy as well, having all these problems and the changes by the new executive, it was very good to hear that even very normal employees without a managerial role can see the difference and can see the changes and the improvements in this organizational development process. And so we will see how we continue the process and how we can convince the executive to continue this organizational development process. I don't know if we will be able to work with these consultants together. It will be difficult because he is not part of this culture we are working in, but we know both cultures. We can work like a bridge, but we have to see what will happen. We can also withdraw ourselves. Maybe it's the other option, of course, that it's clear that he can continue with his own colleagues.